This week.
Sorry, my face is tired from dealing with everything.
I don't know what drugs you're on, but stay back and I won't shoot you.
Welcome to Modern Retro, episode 26. Woo! We passed a quarter. In comparison to what, I don't know, but welcome to Modern Retro, episode 26. I am your host, Cuba. I am joined by the Nermal to my Garfield, the Snarf to my Lion-O, the Orko to my He-Man, Aaron, the Yeti Morse.
Hi, Lion-O.
You like that one? I mean, you complained the last time I did it for Roy.
I did. Good job.
And because you like cats and you're a weird cat man, I've stuck with the cat theme.
It's cat gent, sir. Cat gent.
It's cat gent. That's the proper terminology for crazy guys who like cats.
Yes, absolutely. Most of them have much out of control beards than I do.
That's true. Every really obsessed cat gent that I've ever seen online or known in person does have like a crazy like Yukon Cornelius beard, but they don't go outdoors. They're not outdoorsy people.
Yeah, but it's so like because they're so used to the cats just kind of cradling their neck zone, like when they sit down or lay down, that when they go off to like 7-Eleven, they have it just there and they can stroke it. They're like, nice kitty.
Wait, are we talking about the beard or the cat still?
The beard.
Oh yeah, I don't know if they go to the 7-Eleven with the cat just like attached under their face.
No, that's at home or in the office if you have an office cat.
Oh, can you imagine that? Like, just the cat just digs his claws into like the bottom of your neck, and this becomes your beard. And people don't realize it until all of a sudden a piece of your beard just like uncurls and like starts just moving from the bottom.
Well, wasn't that an internet thing where like people would get selfies and like the cat would look up at the right time and you'd have like cat face?
I don't know. You'd have to tell me. I don't really.
Cat. Yes,
memes.
It was a thing. I knew the answer to my own question.
Okay,
so.
Cat gent. So, welcome to episode 26. We are royalists, by the way. If you're wondering why there is nobody talking about taking a leak and getting sprayed by the air freshener, or I cut out this story, but he punched a seagull last week.
That's on. What do you call those? The emergency pull cord, rip cord?
Yeah.
So if ever we're not recording one week, you'll hear all about how Roy punched a seagull.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm going to cut this for time and relevance, but I'm going to save this. Because it just leads into Down syndrome and everything.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. So yeah, Roy's not with us today. It's just me and Aaron. And we got some Mass Effect to talk about. Yeah,
and I'm testing out, since we're doing this whole Skype thing for YouTubes and things like that. Skype goes to my Xbox One, so we're going to see how this goes.
He doesn't want to go into the closet.
It's dark in there, and it looks like bedding.
I feel like it's an Egyptian tomb without the luxury.
Well, is it with the luxury? That's some fancy, nice foam. So
no, it ain't full of gold, my friend.
But it's fucking cold. It's cold in there.
Don't talk to me about cold. I'm in the fucking dungeon. I'm wearing a sweatshirt. I just happen to not need the heater today.
Well, I live in an industrial, if you could tell, an industrial building. There's no insulation. These walls are made out of fucking Ritz crackers. There's nothing on top. I can hear people's TV down below me. It's a terrible situation. There's the heat just goes right out the window.
Your heat looks like the travel tubes in Futurama. Like, I keep looking over your shoulder expecting to see people go foom, foom, foom,
boom. Yep. So, I don't know. You need like a man cave like this.
Man cave? As the wife shuts the door to the man cave. She's just like, don't want to hear this bullshit.
Did you already explain what Modern Retro is, Cuba? Remember we're supposed to do this every episode?
I didn't remember we were supposed to do this every episode.
Yeah, every episode is someone's new episode.
Oh, shit. That is some deepness right there. I like it. I like it.
Yep.
What is modern retro, Aaron?
Modern retro is drinks with your friends, although I don't have a drink. But I guess with you over there, when Roy's here, they have drinks.
Yeah, apparently I'm drinking alone tonight.
And we just discuss life and how it used to be in the back good old days and how everything old is now new, and we can talk about it again.
Yeah, okay, sure. I mean, that's not the way I would have described it, but I like it.
I didn't create it. You created it, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, I know. No, modern retro. This is weekly geekly, right? That's what we came up with last week.
Weekly geeky.
That's so lame. No, it's this is drinks with your geek friends, with your nerd friends, because we talk about what you talk about. We just happen to record it. We talk about
with video.
Yay! We talk about the latest happenings, some things in the news. We find topics that we want to discuss and usually argue over, and share it with you. And coming in the future, not too distant future, we are going to start getting a little more localized here. So for those of you who listen to this and you're in Massachusetts, more specifically southeastern Massachusetts and or Boston area, we're lining up some guests and a few things that we will be focusing on. Local geek culture is what is going to be happening here, because it's good to know what's going on around you. Might meet some new friends.
Yeah.
Speaking of new friends, Aaron bought a game. A good old game that should be like meeting old friends again.
It should have been.
But what was it?
It absolutely should have been. It was Mass Effect Andromeda. We didn't get to talk about it last week. I was kind of bummed because it was just Beauty and the Beast.
But aren't you glad that we gave it another week?
I am. This might be an ongoing review. This might be a series on this podcast, okay?
Well, this is first impressions of Mass Effect Andromeda, which comes with a fair amount of controversy, and it's only, 10 or 11 days out?
Yes.
Yeah, it's... well, let's get it. We'll get into it. Let's do it.
Yes, so Mass Effect Andromeda, I mean, and going into this, if you're watching on the video, you can see my fucking hoodie right now, Mass Effect N7 hoodie. Like, I wear this on the daily. This is my shit. It's my jam.
I can smell it on the daily.
I just got this in too. You gotta see this. Hold on. Motherfucking Omni Blade. This thing is nasty, right? So you have the normal, then you get into the battle. Boom, motherfucker.
That was one of the coolest new features of Mass Effect 3. Is reaching over the wherever you're hiding behind, and then just stabbing a dude in the face with the Omni Blade.
It comes with a sweet stand too. It's in my living room now. So,
have you gone to work with that?
I mean, it got shipped to work. So
do you?
That's where I get on my packages.
You took it out of the box at work, and you're just like, "Look at everybody! I'm Commander Shepard, and I approve this message."
No, I took it out of the box, and I'm in my cube, and I'm like, oh man, it's fucking nasty. I'm like playing with it, and then I go to show Courtney, and she's down the cube corridor, so I'm just like walking, trying to strap it to my arm, and I just see out of the corner of my eye one of the other designers go,
"Don't know what the fuck that is. Gonna call the police on him."
Seriously, because I was like I walked by him and I was like, "Shink."
I'm gonna show the boss.
No, the thing's nasty. So it's gonna complete my Mass Effect armor when I go to cons.
I thought that thing fell apart.
It did. I had to re-glue everything. It's like an ongoing re-gluing, and that was a super hot day, so it just kind of melted a little bit.
My N7 armor melted.
Yeah. So Mass Effect Andromeda, they didn't do a lot of press testing, stuff like that. So normally they send to like Game Informer and all those major outlets. They kind of play the game, and they assess it for reviews, so you kind of know going in what the problems are, what's good, what's bad, that type of shit. The first series is so iconic in its storytelling and its characters that you need to come correct with Mass Effect, right? You need to have those characters on point. You need to have that storytelling top notch. You need to break new ground some way, some form. And with Next Gen, that seems like the place to do it, right? Because, I mean, we were talking how of Horizon.
Well, before you jump into that, I mean, give your first impressions on the game. So far, this is Mass Effect Andromeda. Just tell us a little bit, without, I guess, too many spoilers, what the basic premise is, and then get into your.
I will,
to
but
your
I'm setting
gripes
up
and the
my
controversies.
mindset at this point. My
Yeah, but
mindset going into this.
You always work backwards. You always like give away.
I'll reel it in. Don't worry. I will reel it in. Okay? I'll reel it in. So, The Last of Us and Uncharted games, and they've just kind of like blown us out of the water with how cinematic they can be. Granted, they weren't RPGs, but as far as level, they've stepped up the game in the form of storytelling, and you expect Mass Effect to follow suit. They didn't release these preview discs or codes or whatever to reviewers a lot. So the only way people could review the game was the EA access 5 days before the release, I think it was.
Yeah, it was like an early access event.
Yeah, so if you paid $5 for EA Access, which is a renewing subscription, so make sure you fucking cancel that shit. Go into your Xbox settings, because that's how they get you. That's how they fucking get you. Anyway.
They already have your credit card information.
They do. It sucks, because EA has all the fucking best games, but they're the most evilest company.
Most evilest company.
Most evilest.
Is that proper grammar? I don't think so.
Most evil? I don't know.
There you go.
They're
This is coming from the guy that can't spell anything, but like I can. So if something doesn't sound right.
Our wordsmith isn't here, goddammit.
Yeah, I know.
So the only way people could do it was EA Access 5 days before the release, and a lot of people signed up for this because we're so like in a fervor for what is this game? How is it? How the fuck is it? Basically,
a lot of anticipation. A lot of. Would hype be the right word? I don't feel it was overly hyped. It was hyped within the Mass Effect community, I guess you could say.
Well, I mean, they did the marketing campaign right. They kind of like trickled it out, and Mass Effect fans are gonna be like, "Yeah, fucking Mass Effect," and like just enough to like Star Wars. You know, they tease you and tease you until fruition.
I mean, it was definitely very, very anticipated because when I went to PAX East 2 years ago, fuck, it might be 3 years ago now. I think BioWare had a room and they had a Commander Shepard like a display banner, and I'm like, "Fuck, are they gonna talk about a new Mass Effect?" And they didn't. They were just talking about what went into making Mass Effect 3, and it was awesome listening to the BioWare panel and everything like that, and getting to meet the model that they based the Sumera on.
Oh, cool.
Apparently, she doesn't work and just attends all the cons as Samara. But you know, just
hey, whatever.
At first, it's like, you know, that's how anticipated this game was. That 3 years before its release, people are like, "Oh my god, are they announcing a new one? Are they gonna do another one?" Because we're like, is there even gonna be another one? Can they do another one? So there's all this mystery, and that's the hype, I guess, behind the game. At the very least, the anticipation behind the game.
Yeah, well, like rightly so, because this fucking game series is supposed to be like top notch. The only problem is every fucking person who made it top notch, the people behind Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic, Jade Empire, like all those great classics are now gone from that company. So It is a husk. It is a husk of what it once was.
I mean, including the founders of BioWare are no longer with BioWare. They went and they did a Kickstarter to start their own separate company.
Really?
Because they were fed up with EA's interference pretty much with Mass Effect 3. And you know, and then everything else that EA had been just fucking sticking to little, we want to poke. They were just like, you know what, fuck this, we quit. We want to start a new company. We don't have the capital to start a new company, but so they did a Kickstarter. I don't know what the status of that Kickstarter was. I think it was successful. I don't think they've developed anything yet. But I mean, that just goes to show you how far the husk of BioWare is, that the fucking founders aren't there anymore.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. You kind of have to know that going in, and that's what kind of made everyone worried going into Mass Effect, because you're like, fuck, none of the creators are there that created all these great things and knew how to tell a story, knew how to character create, like knew, directed where that franchise went, and we watched it over all those years get to that point. None of those people are there now. It's like apprentices and people out of college, and it got us all worried. But they were doing the marketing to the point where it was teasing so much that it's like, oh, I want to fucking get invested so much, but I know there's something wrong. Like every release for Xbox has been not quite there. So everyone was worried, and rightly so. Well, first off, the character creator, garbage, absolute garbage.
Very simple, compared to Fallout 4, let's say.
Yeah, stupefied. It was fucking stupefied. instead of being able to choose, like in the first Mass Effect, choose which eyes that you have, choose which nose you have, choose which mouth you have, and then vary those in, different ways, bigger, smaller, higher, lower. You get 9 pre-made faces, and then you have to tweak that face to however you want. It fucking sucks, because none of the faces actually, like, fit my face anyway. I did it 4 times, okay? Which is a pain in the fucking ass, let me tell you, because it takes at least an hour or two to get your character correct, like in a way or shape that you want it to look like.
And that's even with like a super detailed character creator. It takes like it takes like 2 or 3 hours to make the character that you want.
Exactly. So a super detailed character creator takes you that long, but also a terrible fucking character creator takes you that long because you have to make up for the terribleness of the character creator. Awful. So I played through the first, it's like a tutorial mission kind of thing, and then I was like, "Fuck this! I can't look at myself. I look terrible." So I had to go back and I remade my shit. I mean, I did that for Mass Effect 1, so I'm kind of used to it. This is kind of like how those games play. You play you get used to the combat. You play your character. You see how they look in cinematics, and then you go like that, and you transfer it over into a new play, and you kind of have like a little bit of a boost.
Nope, not me. I go with what I made. That's part of making decisions.
No, so I want to start my decision making off right.
Well, technically, you started off wrong.
No, well, I mean, you started off right until you get it going. Just keep going.
Start off right, and when you don't get it right, you keep doing it till it gets right.
Exactly. So the tutorial mission's fine. Like it's pretty. They added verticality, jumping, a lot of the combat is amazing. One thing that they definitely focused a lot on is the actual gameplay itself. Definitely pretty sweet. Definitely as important as them adding the Omni Blade in the third game. It's just like, why wasn't this here the whole fucking time? But they severely kind of crippled the whole teamwork thing. So at the end of Mass Effect 3, they had a DLC that was fucking spot on in storytelling and gameplay. Right? It was funny. The facial expressions and all that stuff were there. Comedy was on point, and you expect that to carry over, and you start seeing the movie sequences, and you're like, your face isn't moving. That's a little bothersome. And then you see another character, and you're like, your face isn't moving either, and you're not even moving your body at all while you talk to me, and your face looks like a swollen potato people. This fucking game is full of swollen potato people. Anyway, I digress. Got me really fucking worried, okay? Playing the first, because once you play the tutorial mission, you go up to what's called the Nexus. The plot of the game is it takes place between Mass Effect 1 and Mass Effect 2, where groups of that game's species, the old game's species, are trying to go to the Andromeda galaxy and start fresh. There's a lot of conspiracy theories about if it's Cerberus and all that type of stuff. As you're traveling on the ship, you hit a weird solid cloud in the middle of space that completely stops your ship, and you have to figure out what's causing this space cloud while also helping fix the ship and shit like that. It's very Star Trek. The one thing I will say about this game, it's very much like the first game, where there's a lot of fucking exploration. They brought back the goddamn mining, which is a little bit annoying, but it's in a different...
The tank thing?
Planets. Just you're from space scanning a planet.
I mean, I didn't mind that much.
Well, this one, it's not even worth it. You know how the planet would rotate and you kind of move the cursor up and down to find whatever the fuck. This one, you hit scan and the computer says, I found an anomaly. Okay, guess what? It's always on the other side of the planet, so you have to spin the fucking planet to get to it every single time. It can never just be there, and that's it. Why even put that in there? It just seems kind of stupid. On top of that, every planet you go to, it has this long, drawn-out animation with you flying through space, which is great. It looks pretty. Yeah, it looks pretty, and especially on this TV I got here, it looks gorgeous. But guess what? After the fucking 15th time, you're trying to collect some resources, the shit gets old fast.
You can't skip it?
No, I beat the tutorial mission. It's not that compelling at all, the storytelling, which also has me very worried. You get up to the Nexus, which is your main hub. The Nexus is like the Citadel. The backgrounds and the planets themselves, gorgeous. They fucking put all their money into the fucking planets and backdrops and all and shit like that. Nothing was spent on character animations and shit like that. Like, the characters are the ugliest fucking things I've ever seen in my life. They're just, like I said, gross, swollen potato people. Watching YouTube and watching all these reviews, they're fucking going nuts in this game, saying how terrible the animations are. They look too comical. They're walking like a bunch of weird fucking horse, bow-legged babies. It's it's really fucked up. Got me in a fervor because this is exactly what I'm experiencing. All these bugs, all these terrible characters, all this animation, and I looked up to BioWare in their storytelling ability, and they're dropping the ball. One of the major ones that you see all the time is one of the major people you talk to, and she's just like a doll. My face is tired. And they're like, your face ain't doing shit. Okay.
Yeah, that one's become a big meme.
It's rightfully so. It's awful. But the aliens, they look good. I will say that. The aliens look pretty great. The only one that I'm not too keen on is the female Krogan. Because you know how in the old game they look like
they covered
snapping
up their
turtles?
Face, the female Krogan.
Oh yeah, but you know how the males, like, they look like snapping turtles?
Yeah.
In this, the female ones look like Toxic Avenger, moldy turtle people, like frog, like a melting frog. And they have they gave them female like gloss slips, so it's really weird. It's just kind of odd.
It's not easy being green.
Hey, hard to look at. I'm fucking worried. And like I complained to you guys, and as of last week, which is why I'm kind of glad we pushed it to this week, I was in a rage. I'm like, this is fucked up because I'm a Mass Effect junkie. Been waiting for this shit. Paid like the Uber price for this goddamn game. I even got the art book. Because I love seeing, like, the last art books. I got all the other art books, and they were great. They had character designs and, illustrations of villains that they were possibly going to do, different takes on different characters.
Behind-the-scenes shit is always the best.
Yeah. Fucking goddamn it. What the fuck? Like, just, it's EA soaking people for money, and that's definitely where I lay the blame for all the terribleness in this game.
So what changed your mind? What in the past week took you from severe anxiety and panic to now you're changing your tune slightly and you seem more pleased with it?
I've had about 2 weeks now with this game, so I'm on like the second planet. First planet felt like Firefly, very westerny desert planet, and you have to use your nomad and drive around, which has like rocket boosters and shit, but it's dense with content. Oh, and it reminded me of, not Skyrim, Fallout. Fallout is like one of the biggest games I think I've ever played, especially the new Fallout 4, but everyone was hating on the graphics, which the character animations aren't as bad as Mass Effect Andromeda, but the content is definitely there where I can look past it. A lot of side missions, and it's a lot of fun exploring every planet and finding different missions and going and fast traveling over here and fast traveling over there and getting shit done. Because even the side missions feel more impactful than previous games.
But that's the thing where I'm worried about with Mass Effect is that, side missions were always fun to do. And just like any RPG, you got to do almost all the side missions if you want to really level up to the best that you can be. Obviously, you can do that. You can go through the game and not do any side missions. You're just not going to be as powerful near the end. You're not going to have as many items. Yada yada yada. You know that. But where the comparisons come to Fallout, it's like Fallout. The story doesn't matter. I never beat Fallout 3 because it wasn't important. The rest of the world, every single side mission was a massive main mission within itself in Fallout 3. I haven't got a chance to do Fallout 4. We have Fallout 4. Liz started playing Fallout 4, then she got pregnant and baby and stuff like that and hasn't played it. I'm sure Fallout 4 is more the same, but even more complex. Where Mass Effect, the storytelling is the primary thing with Mass Effect. The side missions are great, but they're just that. They're side missions. They should not overpower the main focus of the story. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. Because same with me. I haven't played the actual missions in Fallout 4. I've just been running around doing everything else.
Right.
So,
that's the fun of Fallout 4. But that's not the fun of Mass Effect, or at least it shouldn't be, because It's
It,
going
it
to take away
hasn't
from
been
it.
this one. It feels like they took Knights of the Old Republic and the first Mass Effect and just kind of crammed them into one. So you have like these multiple planets that you can visit and go to, and there's an overall that you can definitely feel the overarching main plot in the game. This is where it takes into the Knights of the Old Republic section, whereas you go to a different planet and there's like a hub, different side missions within that particular planet's hub that you can complete, but you still have the overarching main plot to contend with in order to move forward. Otherwise, you're just standing around holding your dick in your hand. And that's kind of what they got right with this. So you get to a planet, and at the further along in the maps that you progress, they drop forward stations, and those are basically your loadout. You can change your loadout, change your characters, bring in the vehicle, and fast travel. So I like run around the entire planet, just dropping these things real quick, and then I'll start talking to people, and then I can fast travel to the particular point and do whatever mission and jump back. And it's the side missions don't take very long. I just got to, or I'm like halfway in the middle of the second planet. I might be near the end. I just found another vault or whatever, and the vaults are kind of your progression in the game because you're supposed to be making all these different planets viable for people to land on and inhabit. And I ran into the main villain who looks like not the mama from friggin' Dinosaurs. It's goddamn ridiculous. Only he's got, like, he grew up and he's got a voice that's
Made something for himself.
I'm looking past the character animations at this point and feeling the overall atmosphere of the game itself, and I'm enjoying it because the gameplay itself is on point. Like, for sure, combat's great. It's just talking to the characters that you're like, and sex scenes. It's like, oh, I love you too, and like just rub against each other, kind of awkwardly.
I watched at least one of the sex scenes on YouTube, and it was just very uninspiring. Where the original Mass Effect, all the sex scenes were like Skinamax scenes. Like this one was the same but worse and stiffer. Only you saw a boob for like half a second.
Ooh.
And I'm like, ooh, I see a boob, but it's like that's not how people bang. That's just like, I mean, maybe if they're like fucking store mannequins, but
that's what it feels like. It's weird because there was a lot of controversy over like what caused this. Was it social justice warrioring because all the females are not sexy at all?
This is the controversy with the game is how the characters look. Like you said, I was excited but skeptical. Now I'm still on the fence. I'm not sure when or if I'll end up playing Mass Effect Andromeda, but I mean we're 11 days in, something like that. And yeah, this game dropped with controversy, and the first controversy is that the people look like shit. They're rendered. Now, I know the internet seems to be split, and this will go into like my next point about this whole thing and the next controversy with this game, where they're saying that the female characters are ugly. I don't think that's the case. They all are. Every character, the male and female. And people, and I noticed one site where, well, not just one, a couple of sites where they're like using the photos, screen caps of the game as an example of like, see, this is the female character, and this is the model that they used the likeness of, and this looks nothing like the actual model. They made her ugly and look funny, and this is the male character, and looks just as dashing as the model that he was based on. And I'm like, no, stop right there, because the picture you're using for, to show how ugly the female character is like an in-game dialogue screen cap. And then the picture that they're using for the male was one of the like teasers, the cinematic teasers that they were using to advertise the game. The cinematics are always going to look fucking brilliant. And the Knights of the Old Republic games they still have these amazing cinematic trailers where we're like, why can't you make a Star Wars movie that looks like that? And then when you get to the game doesn't look anywhere close to that good. So I've seen the in-game screens and the movement of the male character, and he looks as much like dog shit as the female character. So it's not they intentionally made the females ugly and made the men dashing and debonair looking. No. Just overall, their entire character rendering system is way subpar. They all look like they were stung by bees and then wrapped in saran wrap. It's very weird.
I also watched a video too that was like the progression of BioWare, and it shows like the games being created over the years, all helmed by like the creators, the initial creators of BioWare, and after they left the company, you can see the decline in the character design. Like they go from like sexy, kind of cool, maybe like, you know, heavy metal-esque. There was one where it was like a demon with giant tits and her fucking giant horns coming out, but she looked like super sexy, and you're like, that's weird, and I kind of like it, but I don't know why. Kind of awkward. But
I'll tell you why I like it.
And then after they leave, after was it something Hudson and I forget the other dudes.
Casey Hudson.
Casey Hudson and the other guy left.
Ray Mizuka.
Yeah, that guy. You could definitely tell that the characters just start getting uglier and uglier and uglier. And I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's just because they're hiring kids out of college who know how to animate but don't quite know why they should be animating what they're animating. So they just create like basic people that they think look like people, but really it's, you know, the senior fucking experiment at the end of the year that you're supposed to show all your teachers like how you did, like that kind of gross. Or if it's like the social justice warrior thing where like those kids out of college are deliberately making these characters look like uglier people in society. So,
I mean, I don't think it's that. I think, like we said, pretty much the entire original team of BioWare is gone. So I mean, I don't know what their hiring practices are. I don't know if they're hiring kids right out of school. It's clearly a different team. They render characters differently. Now I've seen the other videos, other games where it's like, okay, the characters don't look. The character design is definitely different. They don't look as good as they did in other games. Putting that aside, this game in particular, Mass Effect Andromeda, is just unexcusably sloppy. It's not just poor design, it's poor rendering.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know what I think it also is too? Like you look at those games, you look at any game basically that has topped the charts as far as like The Last of Us or Mass Effect. Mass Effect was a culmination of everything that those two worked towards, and they had a vision in their head. You know, Last of Us had their story to tell, and this feels like game by committee. It has no real direct storytelling direction of someone with an actual vision. It just feels like we had to make a game. Let's hire some writers to write something. Let's hire some animators to animate something, and let's hire some audio people to record some shit. Like, and they just kind of crammed it all into a game and called it Mass Effect, like, because obviously that name holds, you know, sway.
And that was one of my biggest fears when they announced it was going to be another Mass Effect game, is because I had already known that the BioWare team had moved on. It's just a husk now. And then EA interfered so much with Mass Effect 3, which was still a great game, but an incredibly frustrating game because of EA. So I'm like, fuck, EA is in charge now. This is an EA game, no longer really a BioWare game. And you know, I'm like, all right, well, I'll give it a chance. You know, the cinematics, they got me. I'm like, ooh, that looks fucking great. That looks beautiful. But deep down, I'm still in the back of my mind. I'm like, God, I can't trust it. I can't trust it. And it turns out I can't trust it. Mm-hmm. There's no excuse for how these characters look. And I read that they even released a patch on day one. They actually made the characters uglier. I don't know how or why, but for whatever reason, on day one, if you bought the game if you downloaded the game on day one, and you started playing, there was a patch that was released on the same day that Mass Effect Andromeda came out, where they already looked kind of funny, but the patch made them look funnier. It was like the bee sting patch, because it's what actually made them slightly more bloated and a little more shiny, because they're before that, and that's day one.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Somebody fucked up there. They put the wrong fucking package in play, but
I think the major point of the animations is just the eyes are too big.
They
made
are.
them all,
They are. Yeah.
it's like
gigantic.
I think the fucking character like artist came from SteveBuscemi.com because like, that's everyone has fucking Steve Buscemi eyes.
Well, it's like they're trying to make an anime.
Yeah, it's weird. And like you've seen the memes going around where they just like shrunk the eyes to make them look normal.
Yeah,
and it looks
I said
like
that to you.
yeah, it looks 100 times better. Even the aliens all have like enlarged eyes, except for the Turians. Like most of the aliens look fantastic, except for the new aliens that just came that introduced you to the good guys. I forget their names because I'm still kind of new in dealing with them. But there's the Ket and the Angara, I believe that's the other. So the Angara have these giant fucking eyes, and it looks like they're gonna fall out of their head. I'm just like, that looks fake and terrible. Why did you do that?
But
but they live on Pandora, the Avatar planet. It looks fucking gorgeous. I'm just saying. They definitely spent all their money on planets and surroundings because
that's another thing I definitely read.
It is pretty. It is definitely a pretty game. The setting itself is gorgeous, but I have pros and cons that I can read off on my phone.
Oh, okay.
So pros, decent story and characters. The characters are. There's no Garrus. There's no Garrus. There's no fucking like.
Well, you have to build up those relationships,
I guess, but there's nothing like investing me. Amazing combat. Addition of verticality is great. No classes, so you can have up to 12 special moves, and you can kind of mix and match from biotic tech and combat and make your own little guy, which is great. You're not locked into like adept or, soldier. So you can whatever you choose to level up, that's what you have. And easily 100 hours of games worth of content for sure. So I'm going to be playing this for fucking ever, and the game is gorgeous. Cons. Lack of new alien species. So they took away the Hanar, the Drell, what are the fat ones there?
Yeah, the mole people.
Yeah, the mole people.
That's what I think everybody's even like, mole people.
That was one thing about the games, like they had so many characters, alien races, even like those ones with the 4 eyes.
The Batarians, yeah.
The Batarians, they're not in there. And
they're like the assholes of the galaxy.
Exactly. So you have aliens. So in this game, you have humans, Solarians, Krogan, Turians. I think that's it.
Well,
yeah.
the council member races.
The council member races, and then you add 2 new species, which is the bad guys and the good guys of this system, and that's it. That's it. There's like 2 fucking races.
So this is an entire galaxy, a whole new galaxy. They dropped the 5 or so secondary races from the Milky Way galaxy, and they haven't. I mean, maybe you're only new into the game, so who knows? But so far, they have not repopulated it with secondary background characters in this whole fucking galaxy.
No,
that would be just lazy. I would be shocked. I mean, I hope that next time you report on this, you're gonna say I met like a race of Bigfoots or something like that. Just something to say that other people live in this galaxy besides 2 people, because that's just kind of ridiculous.
Me too. But I mean, like the beasts that come out of the woodwork when you're just roaming the planet. Like I've had to face a giant T-Rex like raptor thing. That was kind of cool. And this giant gorilla monkey thing that was kind of cool too. And gorgeous. Let's see. Planet scanning is back as a con. The twins aspect of the game I hear is very underutilized. You're twins and you have to create both characters. So you create your character and your sister. But they don't do anything with it, I guess. There's no renegade options. So the old game had Paragon and Renegade, and one was good, one was bad, and you could go into situations like a dick or like a good guy, right? And maybe one in between. This one, it's all varying types of good guy. So you have like the wise-ass good guy, the intelligent good guy, or it's just all fucking good guys.
So are they trying to tell a more linear story? It sounds like that. Because
locking you into the character.
The original Mass Effect was you're kind of your story. You're kind of play it how you want till you pick the 3 colors at the very end. This one, it sounds like they're with all the limits. It sounds like this is more of the main focus. Like you can decide a couple of things, but you're going to go down this one known path.
Basically, I mean, you do make some decisions whether like to build a science station or a military station, and that affects like how you're going to be remembered in the universe. I guess I don't know, but basically they're locking you into this character. You're definitely a good guy. You're not a dick at all, except when you're dealing with the bad guy, you can choose the dick setting. But it's all to like make the conversation flow, and that was kind of disappointing as well, because the Paragon and Renegade system, depending on how many points you had in one direction, you could steer the conversation better. So I haven't seen that transfer over into this game where your choices and dialogue affect later gameplay.
Was that all your pros and cons?
Glitches and bugs.
I only saw you play for 5 minutes, and I saw two fucking glitches right there.
Yeah, you saw people in the floor and you saw people above the floor.
Yeah.
I've seen funky running. I've seen this is one where I was talking to someone and like a bad guy was attacking while I was talking. I'm like I guess I'm gonna die now because my health is doing this while the person's talking. Like fucking goddamn. That happened. I got to one where like I could only move if my gun was out, which was really strange. So if I put my gun away, I just couldn't move.
Glitches are always
par for the course.
It's when they become an impediment to the gameplay itself, because they'll always be patched, or you just end up living with them. Either or.
So, I mean, with Fallout 4, you kind of live with it.
That was Fallout 3 too. Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I blew someone up and their head just kind of bounced around and did weird things and winked back at me.
I'll say I can't give a final verdict right now. I'll give it when I actually complete the game, which will be ongoing. But I'll keep you up to date as far as what I'm experiencing, because I don't want to give a biased opinion, because I do love my Mass Effect, but I'm definitely going to tell you fucked up with this goddamn character creator and the characters themselves and the animations. When I'm looking at a Turian and I'm talking to them and they're just like arms down by their side and they're like, "My husband's a murderer. Can you save him?" What?
Yeah,
ridiculous.
There's no excuse for. And you sent a video that sort of explained it, and so what I took from that 20-minute video was essentially they got lazy and forgot. They designed the characters and then they forgot to put in the algorithm that makes them move, essentially, that gives them a lifelike quality. And then they're like, well, we've been working on it for 5 years and it's time to launch the game. It's like, no, you delay the game and you put in that algorithm, because that's no fucking excuse. None whatsoever. We just got Horizon Zero Dawn on the PlayStation 4. I watched my wife play that the first 30 minutes of that game last night. Wow, that was just a beautiful fucking game. Backgrounds, the surroundings, amazing. The interaction with the world is amazing. The characters, their design, their facial expressions, just amazing. The fucking robotic dinosaurs that I don't know what the fuck their story is, amazing. The way they move is just so fucking great. The kind of prologue of this game is you play as the main character as a little girl for the first little bit of the game at the beginning, and they even have like a 6-7-year-old, however old she is, they have a child's movements down packed in that game. Just when she runs, it's like, yeah, it's like I've seen my daughter run like that. It's just like a little silly little kid run, and just the way she moves and stuff like that is just like wow, just wow. And
that's a game, but that's a game that had direction. It had someone with a vision.
Okay. Yeah, but still, right, exactly. But Mass Effect should have had a vision, and it goes back to the same thing with there is no excuse for that level of ineptitude, laziness. And just look at the remake or the remaster of The Last of Us. That's fucking brilliant, and that's already 2 years old. Mm-hmm. And it's just like. My brain can't comprehend this shit. That's just a fail. That is whether the game is great or not, this very, very integral part of the game, character design, the making a character look lifelike, and failing so hard in next gen on the Frostbite engine is just absolutely irreprehensible. You can't, there's just like, you can't. Like, it goes into a whole other fucking controversy with this game where there's like another little mini gamergate going on with this fucking game because of the character design. I would love to get my wife in on this because she has like personal connections to Gamergate. One of her best friends who lives in JP, Dorchester, I think it's Dorchester, he was roommates with the girl who was the main victim of Gamergate. And yeah, what
was Gamergate for the audience?
Gamergate was... It's so hard to explain because it's such bullshit. I'm gonna say this out here, and if we lose you, I don't care. Hardcore game nerds, like the very introverts, that are the stereotype of the nerd that don't leave the basement, just their life is games and nothing else matters.
As you speak from a basement cube.
Games aren't my life. We're talking about like the stereotypical virgin lives in the basement. They end up hating women because they can't get laid, because they don't go out and live a social life. I can't remember the girl's name right now, but she was a game developer, still is a game developer, and angry ex-boyfriend wrote a blog about how she blowjobbed her way up to the position of designer for games or whatever, which is not the case. But then all these game closet basement trolls started just blowing this up online, and it turned into like sending death threats and rape threats. And to this day, apparently, she still has a private investigator that follows her everywhere she goes because somebody hired this guy to follow her to this day, and it's been 3 years.
It's so strange.
She moved out of the apartment that she shared with my wife's friend, like in secret in the middle of the night. Just moved because she had to move. He was afraid of going home because, they're just threats, but you never know when somebody might follow through on this threat to cause harm, or if they can't find, her, maybe they're going to kick your ass or stab you or something like that, So that's what Gamergate was. It was just blown up. It was like in the dark recesses of Reddit, but it got so big that it was reported on in like the main news outlets. There's another person that was dragged into this for defending the main girl. Her name is Brianna Wu. She's running for congresswoman in some district in Boston, and she was dragged into Gamergate because just for defending. It comes down to the whole, they don't like women who develop games because they don't know games. Same sort of thing is actually happening with Mass Effect Andromeda now, because some blog that was associated with Gamergate singled out this employee at EA. But they said they didn't say she was with EA. They just said that she was in charge of the facial recognition rendering system or whatever on Mass Effect Andromeda. So all these angry Mass Effect gamers all of a sudden started sending death and rape threats to this woman. And BioWare came out and they're like, first of all, she's an EA employee. She's not a BioWare employee.
Of course she
wasn't
is.
in charge. She wasn't in charge of the faces, and it doesn't matter. It's like, they defended her, and other BioWare and EA people have come out and defended her, but she's had to take down all of her social media pages because of this. I was reading she was her Twitter is my voice. Her Twitter is still up. I guess she's attractive. She's like 23, 24. She's young. And obviously the younger, more attractive you are, the bigger target you are to trolls. So, but she is a really good cosplayer. I saw pictures of her cosplay costume. She's like one of those people that makes body molds for the armors and shit like that. That this whole thing just ruins people's lives, whether you make the threat to people or not out of a joke, out of anger, and you don't even intend to actually go through with it. I mean, I hope if you threaten to rape somebody, you don't intend to go through with it, because you're really fucked up if you are. But just even threatening that it ruins lives. This girl, I feel bad. She can't go to cons and cosplay anymore because, I mean, who would? You're getting all these death threats and stuff like that. You're gonna constantly be looking over your shoulder. And it's like, it boils down to the fact it's just a fucking video game. Look, I'm not happy with how ugly they are either, but it's a fucking video game. They move on with life. There's more to it.
Seriously.
Don't ruin someone else's.
Focus your energy on what matters.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it sounds like you're working past how ugly it looks, and I mean, and that's really what it comes down to. You can the
Like
game.
I said, the game itself warrants that, in that they had teams that knew what they were doing. They were competent in what they were doing, but they just all crammed it into one game. So, like, the actual people who did the gameplay for jumping and exploring, they did their fucking job. They did it correctly. So, good job.
Right. Whether this woman was in charge of the facial movements of the characters or not doesn't matter, because she doesn't have final say. Somebody above her looked at that and said, yeah, that piece of shit looks good.
Yep.
It's that failure is a team failure.
Absolutely. It's not just a team failure, but definitely the approver, which is probably the manager.
Right.
I come from a corporation and they don't give a shit. They're just like, looks good.
Yeah.
And if you don't have the conviction behind, what you're doing and a vision, shit's gonna get fucked up.
I mean, that was approved by clearly with somebody who had their face in a mountain of cocaine. Because I don't know how that was there. Somebody just went, yeah, that looks good. Release that.
And one thing too, their excuse was like, it's animated by algorithm, so most of the scenes don't get touched by human hands, which I'm fine with. But guess what? You just played a fucking hour or two into the game. You see some shit that you can't unsee. Goddamn nightmare fuel. How did that get past you? How? Because that's not just like, in the middle of, hour 43, you come across a movie sequence that no one touched because it's a fucking algorithm. No, this is straight up goddamn first hour. Fuck you, you lazy pieces of shit.
Well, algorithms, they dictate how they move and stuff like that. But I mean, character design is where they're failing here too.
Yeah, totally.
That's not an algorithm.
So, in comparison, Evolve just came out on Xbox Live. Evolve is like one of the first games that came out for Xbox.
Yeah.
And looking at their character design and so it's basically only a multiplayer game, and you have like little mini movie sequences before each multiplayer match, whatever, and the character animations are great. They on par with Pixar. Their eyebrows are like, oh, we're gonna get this son of a bitch. It's very cool characters.
That at PAX East the first time, and yeah, it looked amazing.
Yeah, the characters and their whole demeanor is amazing. Everything, and this one is fucking bland as shit. I feel like it's a game by committee, and unfortunately that's the case. But I mean, it's still good gameplay. So, for this week's review of Mass Effect,
give us your final thoughts, Aaron.
I will say, not full price. Get it at a discount, if you can. A couple months later down the road, you're not missing out on playing. Or you're not missing out if you buy it immediately or buy it down the line. If you're a Mass Effect fan, you'll stick with it and you'll see the merits of what you liked and why you like it, like I do, because I feel the Star Trek exploration. It's a different kind of thing. It's not quite as Star Warsy as the last trilogy. It's more Star Trekky, and I can dig that too. So if it's still on EA Access, which is the $5 a month thing, I'd say go for that for sure. Or $40, you'll get your money's worth. But yeah, not full price.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you have it. If you have played Mass Effect and Andromeda, we'd like to know.
If you took pictures or video of any crazy shit you've seen, send that shit our way.
Yes.
I have been posting some funny ass fucking shit to these guys.
Well, apparently, there's a thing. There's a thing going around where people are intentionally making the characters as ugly as possible, like in the character creator. I'll post the link to that because that's pretty funny. But we want to know if you're playing Mass Effect Andromeda. Tell us what you think. If this sounds about right. If you completely disagree and you think the characters look beautiful and the game is fantastic, we want to know. If you are planning on buying Mass Effect or playing Mass Effect, well, heed this advice.
Where can I send that stuff, Cuba?
You can email it to us at modernretrocast@gmail.com, or you could message us on Facebook. You can tweet us on Twitter at modernretrocast, and you can always find us, and we encourage you to do this, on iTunes. Give a rating, a star rating, preferably in the high star ratings, 4 or 5. Wink, wink, and leave feedback, because that's how
wink, wink.
that's how this show grows, and that's how the audience grows. And like I said, we have a couple things coming up very soon. Oh, I'll announce it here, because by the time this airs, it's going to be closer. We are going to Star Wars Celebration in Orlando. By the time this comes out, I think it'll be about 2 weeks before Celebration. We're going to be there for at least the 3 days. The first 3 days. I think we might leave on the last day, but we'll see.
We should live stream some of the trip down. We should live stream anytime, and just
we're gonna be posting stuff. So if you stick with us, you keep checking our Facebook, our Twitter, you might be the first to hear some cool news out of Celebration. Any words of wisdom?
I'm Commander Shepard, and this was not my favorite game on the Citadel.
Good night, everybody.
Yeah, this album is dedicated to my father, Jared, who tried to kill me in the Hollows, to Tarnactus, Terra Firma, and that stupid Volus diplomat, and all the other croaking in the struggle, you know what I mean? It's all good, baby, baby. It was all a dream. I used to read Fornax magazine, left Tuchanka when my clan started getting mean. Didn't think that I'd be missed. Every single day making money, killing guys like Fist. I made the cap drop with my gunshots. Plastic fools drinking recall on the rocks way back when I had the level 1 armor set, clad in red. And you Solarians, ha 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 ha, you never thought the Krogan would make it this far. Now we're in the limelight, cause we fight right. Time to get paid, gonna cure the genophage. Clan's bigger, always pulling on the trigger. Remember when we had to eat pie jacks for dinner. Peace to Ashley, Garrowski, Charlie, Zaid, Masani, Kenneth, and Dabby. I'm drawing up all my battle plans. Call me up, same planet, same clan, I'm still a man. And if you don't know, now you know, Rat Night.